Welcome to the Writer's Journey podcast. I'm Michael Laron, a science fiction and fantasy author on a journey to go from nobody to bestseller, and I'm documenting every step of the way. Tune in every week as I pull back the curtain on my writing life and how I'm building a writing career while working a full-time job, raising a family, and attending law school classes in the evenings. You can find show notes for this week's episode, a free starter library of my fiction, and much more at michaellaron.com. Enjoy the show. Hello and welcome to episode 61. 61 episodes, and in this week I am going to be talking about how things are going with my writing space. As many of you know, I am currently on a hiatus from my YouTube channel, but that's not because I don't have time, and it's not because I'm overly busy or anything like that. It's because I'm extremely self-conscious, meaning the space down here just looks terrible, and I don't want to record anything on my YouTube channel that is going to take me back like 5 years. I want it to look good. And the channel has been doing well enough in the recent months that I've been able to just say, you know what, I'm going to actually be intentional about my background. I'm going to design everything from the ground up, and it's going to double. So I'm going to have a place where I shoot my YouTube videos, but I'm also going to make that a same place where I actually write. So I want to be able to come downstairs in this basement area where I have and be able to write or be able to shoot videos. So I need a dual purpose solution. And so I talked about in the last episode how I hired an interior designer, professional interior designer, to help me with all of that, and got a few updates. So she met with me. I kind of told her what I was looking for. She took measurements of the space. She took photos of the space, and she went back to her office and, she did some magic, and she sent me a mock-up of what she thought the background or the writing area should look like. And that was based on kind of the things that I told her, based on some things that she kind of knew from her trade. And what she sent, I actually really liked. It was nothing fancy. It's not like fancy. And I think that's the thing about interior design is you don't always get something that's fancy. It's more about how you use that space. And so the desk is the center point of the set. And then I'm going to have, because it's a basement, one of the problems that I told her was that I didn't have a whole lot of light. And that's a problem in a number of ways, mainly because I can't really, I have glasses, and so I need to make sure that when I'm writing, I can actually see. I'm not straining my eyes. So that's problem number one. Problem number two is I have very dark skin. And so when I'm on video and I'm on camera, I'm extremely conscious about how I look, because in all of the writing spaces that I've had, only one time have I ever had adequate lighting. And that was in the very beginning of my YouTube videos, my very first YouTube videos. It was almost a little bit too much light, but I thought it made me look well lit. And that was like for 20 videos. And then some things in my space changed, and I could never get it back. And so even in my most recent videos before I went on a hiatus, I just hated the way that I looked. At first, I blamed it on the LED lights, and then I blamed it on the paint in the walls, and I just found all kinds of things to blame it on. And at the end of the day, it was because I didn't have enough light, right? And you really can't rely on studio lights to get you where you want to go. So one of the things that she helped me with, and it's something that I never would have thought of, is to get a large mirror and put that on one of the walls and have that bounce light around the room. And so I think she prescribed me a 30 by 40 inch mirror that's going to sit on a wall outside of view, and it's going to help with that light. And then I'm actually going to order a couple more lights that are going to be a little bit softer on my skin. So I've used LED lights in the past, and I didn't really like how I like the lights because they're portable and they're battery powered, but I didn't like how harsh they were on my skin. And I just, out of principle, I don't like ring lights. I think that under the right circumstances, they make you look like aliens. So she sent me a mock-up, and it's got a desk, which will probably be the same desk that I'm using now, and then a geometric bookcase, which I think looks really cool and really modern, and then a picture frame on the wall, and then a few other things that will help accessorize the space and make it look good. So she sent me that mock-up, and I met with her yesterday, and we sat down, and she gave me a list of all the recommended products that she recommended that I buy based on her measurements and just kind of based on her eye and her aesthetic and all that. And so looked at it with her, looked at it with my wife, and my wife approved. So it's kind of a good thing, right? You don't want to create a space that, your wife doesn't like. So my wife approved of it. And so I'm at a point now where I'm just testing paint because she recommended a purple color in the background, and she gave me a lot of different shades of purple. And so I just actually, before I recorded this, I actually just wrapped up a test shoot with all the different colors on the wall to see which ones look best with my complexion. Like I said, I just think that's really important. And so I'll make a decision here in the next day or so on what paint I want to buy, and I plan on moving pretty quick, guys. So I will be painting either this weekend or next weekend, and then once I settle on a color, I'm going to be ordering materials, and so it should take about a week for those materials to arrive. I've got an electrician coming to redo the wiring and the lighting in the space, so he'll be here Friday, so that shouldn't take too long. And then at that point, it's really just a matter of how frustrating putting together this geometric bookcase is going to be. That might make me quit the whole endeavor, but I don't think it'll be too bad. And then at that point, it's a matter of having the interior designer come over again and help me figure out accessories and what to put on the bookcase and how to arrange the desk, and just to make sure that aesthetically it looks good before I get in and start shooting, right? And it's a work in progress. Things will change as I go, but I guess when I kind of want to make sure I have the big rocks in place. So things are going very, very well. Thank you for all of you who've been asking. I know you guys are eager for me to get back to videos, and that is going to come very quickly. And I'm actually really excited about getting back to videos because I actually am in the process of working out a brand deal right now with a company that I think is really going to... I think it's something that a lot of people on my YouTube channel have been asking me for, and it's something that I have not been able to really provide a recommendation on the right app for this kind of thing. And so I don't think anyone else in the writing space is doing it. And so I'm hoping that this will be really, really, really cool. I can't talk about it yet, but this company, they kind of checked off all the boxes for me. One, are their terms of service user-friendly and author-friendly? Is it a product that I admire and a product that I would use myself? And 3, does it actually solve a need in the marketplace? And so more to come on that. But lately, the topic of this episode, and something I guess wanted to talk about very briefly, is something that I've been thinking about a great deal over the last week or two. And that is, what does it mean to survive as a writer? What does it mean to be able to stick around, right? So I don't know necessarily what prompted me to start thinking about this. I think it was because I just happened to be thinking about an author that I had been following for a while, a self-published author, and I kind of wondered whatever happened to her, and I kind of Googled her, and she kind of dropped off the face of the earth. And this is somebody that was extremely successful early on, in like 2014, 2015. Wrote a lot of books and wrote them very quickly, and was very opinionated about some of the philosophies in which she talked about on a lot of the interviews that she did, and that's all fine and dandy, right? You don't have to agree with everybody, but now no longer nowhere to be found. And so it got me thinking about a lot of people that I have seen come and go into the self-publishing industry since I've been around, which has been 2012 or so is when I kind of started following it. And it's really kind of remarkable, right? It's like every 2 to 3 years, someone pops and they're just like, they're everyone's hero. And then next thing you know, they're gone, or, they're out of the limelight and they don't talk to authors anymore, and they're just kind of recluses. And, it makes me really wonder about that. Like how does that happen? And what would it take for me? Like, I have to tell you guys up front that I'm not somebody that wants to be famous. Like, I want to be successful. Like, I want people to know that I'm good at what I do. I want people to buy my books, and I want people to be lined up to buy my books when I launch them, right? Because that's what constitutes a successful career for an author in today's day and age, but I don't really have any incredible desire to be famous, right? Like I don't want to be. I shouldn't say I don't. I'm not striving to be a 7-figure author or an 8-figure author, right? I just at the end of the day, my goal is exactly what it was on day one when I published my first book, and that is, can I make enough money to publish the next book? That's it, right? Can I make enough money to publish that next book? Can I make enough money to pay my expenses? If I want to go out and buy a writing app, I want to be able to afford that. I want to be able to go out and buy it. If I want to be able to buy Photoshop, I want to go out and be able to buy Photoshop. The only thing I really care about is sustaining the art, right? And sustaining it in a way that I can afford it. I don't have to go into debt. It's not putting stress on me or my family, and just so that the writing can survive and live in and of itself. And I've been thinking a lot about that, and how maybe that's a little bit different than how other people approach it. I think a lot of writers go into this profession and they instantly want to make money, right? They are thinking about, okay, I want to make 6 figures. I want to make 6 figures. I want to make $100,000 so I can quit my crappy cubicle job or my crappy job or escape my crappy boss or be able to afford a better lifestyle. And so what happens is people start chasing that, right? And it's not that that's an illusion, but I think it's harder to achieve than people think it is. Whereas I've always taken the approach of money is good and I need it, right? It's important, but I don't necessarily need as much of it as other people do right now at this stage in my career. I just need to be able to make enough to learn the craft, be able to write a lot of books quickly so that I can learn faster, right? Because the more I believe that the more you write and the more you study the craft and put that study into practice, not just analyzing and looking at literary theory and things like that, but the more you read and put that into practice, the better a writer you're going to be, and the better your writing is going to resonate with readers. And that's something that I've seen in my own craft grow exponentially over the years, but it's grown slowly. But life happens, guys, right? I mean, things happen, and you can get sick, or you can die, or the economy could change or crash, and then all of a sudden, you don't have any money to do anything, right? Maybe you don't have a job, and so what does that mean, right? How can I create today the things that I'm doing today? Create a writing business that's going to be around 10 years from today, 20 years from today. And so that's something that I've been thinking a great deal about. What do I want my writing career to look like? What kind of books do I want to write? What if the worst thing happened tomorrow and I lost my job, or I wasn't able to afford an editor, or I wasn't able to afford a cover designer? What would I do? And I think a lot of people don't think about that. I think a lot of people, they just kind of assume that the money's always going to be there, or they assume that the readers are always going to buy their books, and then things kind of lull, and what do? And as I've seen a lot of people have to deal with this, a lot of people quit. I can't tell you how many writers that I've known over the last few years in the self-publishing circle that are no longer writers. And I don't want to be somebody that people think about 2 or 3 years from now or 5 years from now. And hey, whatever happened to that Michael Aran? Yeah, I really like that guy, but I guess he fell off the face of the earth. And so I'm investing in a couple of things that I think are going to help me with that. And the first is making sure that I'm taking advantage of all the different writing tools that are available to me, and making sure that I am learning to master those tools, right? So that I can improve my process and write as quickly as possible, but also continue to create content, because I think creating content on a consistent basis is the most important thing that I don't think anyone is talking about, right? So even if I don't feel like it, it's dragging myself in front of this microphone and recording something for you guys to hear every week about how things are going on in my life, right? It's about getting in front of my camera and making YouTube videos all the time, even though I'm on hiatus now, right? But it's about releasing however many books per year, whatever that looks like. If it's a really good year for me, maybe that's 12. If it's a really bad year, or I'm falling on economic hard times, maybe it's 1, right? But how do I do that? And so as I start to come back onto my YouTube channel, that's something that I'm going to be taking a big focus on because it's something that I think a lot of writers need to be thinking about. I think we do a really good job as an industry and as a profession about thinking about the now, right? Because if you don't think about the now, you're not going to make any money. But I think we have to do a better job of thinking about the future. But again, that's what makes me an anomaly compared to a lot of the writing podcasts and things out there, is that I'm trying to think ahead. And it's not so much for me about the profit right now, although I would like to be a full-time writer someday. But even then, I want to make sure that I'm going to do it right. I tend to be pretty conservative economically by nature, and so I'll take slow growth any day over really, really fast growth and then falling off a cliff. So those are kind of some of the things that are on my mind, especially as I do this renovation and I think about the future of what my videos are going to look like, the types of people that I'm going to be connecting with, and the types of things that are kind of falling into my lap right now in terms of opportunities. I really want to make sure that everything that I'm doing is going to keep me on stable ground, because I think it's really easy to lose sight of that. And I'll admit it's something I haven't really been thinking about too lately. So I want to make sure that I'm all teed up on that. So in writing news, I have actually started Reaper's Way. So for those of you who have been writing me about Reaper's Way, it's on the way. I'm about 10,000 words into the book, and so I'm excited. Should be able to wrap that up in the next 1 to 2 weeks. And then I still have those appendices to write for this writer's encyclopedia that I'm doing, and I'm thinking I'll be able to book some things with my editor here in the next week or two. So great news, a lot of exciting things going on, and I hope that all of you listening, wherever you are, that you're having a great day. And as always, thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you next week. Thanks for joining me this week. If you like this episode, you'll enjoy my backlist episodes at michaellaron.com/podcast. For your free starter library of my favorite novels, join my fan club by visiting michaellaron.com/fan-club. If you're a writer and you want to connect with me further, check out my YouTube channel, Author Level Up, for helpful writing advice at authorlevelup.com. Thanks for listening, and I'll be back next week.